to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on Scraplift Crafternoon. This is a weekly hop that I hostess and participate in with the members of my tribe. Those members are Kristen at Scrappin' on the Fly, Karen at A Little Kinder, Christine at Scrappin' Harden, and Kimberly at I'd Rather Be Scrapbooking. There have been a few other of us along this journey, but for right now it is just the 5 of us working on this hop. This week I chose a layout from Caledonia Paper Crafts. She had a pretty fun layout for us to scrap lift. I asked her permission and we received it. And I will list her Instagram link below so that you can give her some proper love. She has some pretty amazing creations on her Instagram account. You should definitely check her out. I will post her layout up here in the corner for you to view. And then we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a moment. Her layout has one beautiful photo. It looks like it's a family meal photo, and I really like that, and I just scrapbooked the one that I had printed out yesterday. So I am instead going to scrapbook about this home. So this set of pictures was taken after I had unpacked from our most recent military move in 2015. We've since moved like 5 or 6 times since 2015, but I'm way behind on scrapbooking. So this is some of the rooms. And actually this here is one room, and then this is the main living room. This one top room housed my scrapbook stuff in one corner. It housed my workout stuff in another corner, and in another corner it housed our schoolroom, because I homeschooled our children for 23 years. I just retired after graduating our youngest daughter, Emily, this spring. And of course, this is the living room. And this house had a staircase that when you came in the front door, you could walk up the staircase, and then you turned and you could look down over the main living room. And so that's the angle that this photo has been taken. Here is, on this side of the room, you can kind of see the edge of this piece of furniture. That is where our TV is. And then there was a lovely little corner that was perfect for a dog bed. This house was a pretty good fit for the O'Rourke family when we rented it. This is when we were stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. We lived in Clarksville, Tennessee. So I'm going to scrapbook 4 small photos. She had some strips of paper, and I wasn't sure which way I was going to go with it. So I pulled out some of the branding strips, and you'll note that they have holes in them because they came from a paper pad. But I pulled some of those out. Maybe I'll use those for the strips. But I also pulled out some scraps just in case I needed some more strips. And then this piece of paper is what I'm going to use to cut her circles. And then, of course, a piece of white cardstock. I also pulled out a set of stamps. These are from Allie Edwards Story Kits. This one was called Home. No date on it, but it is an older story kit, so I don't know if you can still get it on her website. And, of course, the collection I'm working with is Fernwood. I have the Thicker's Phrase Pack that has icons and phrases and title stuff on it. I pulled these letters just in case I wanted to use those letters because they match well. And then this set of puffy phrase stickers from the same collection. And as you can see, they're mostly gone. And I kind of was just going to use them for these little bits here. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and get started here, and I'm going to pause this video, and then when I come back, I will have you sped up so that you can enjoy watching me create. I'll be right back. All right, first things first, I am going to start laying out the background of this layout because I want to give myself an idea of where to place my stamping, because I don't want to cover up too much of the stamping. In fact, I'd like to not cover up any of it if at all possible. So the first thing I did is I had a piece of wood grain. It was a scrap from a previous layout, and it was a large enough scrap that I kept it because it would make a good border. And so here it's going to appear on this layout with all this beautiful fernwood papers. that piece of paper actually came from Life is Beautiful by Fancy Pants. So I cut apart my 4 photos, and then I matted each one of them on white cardstock. And now I'm going to layer them up on the back side of this camera piece. My whole goal here was to not waste any of the papers that I had pulled out to play with. And so I'm trying to use fronts and backs of the ones that end up on this layout. So I'm going to go ahead and tear my mat now, and I'm going to tear it a couple of times in a couple of places just to make sure that I get the look that I'm going for and that it's not too large, because that is going to be an issue for me. My photo and mat is much larger than the original layout, and I'm going to have to cut some things out to get the general design of her layout onto this page. That happens when you put more photos on a layout than what you're scrap lifting. And it's okay, we can do that and it still be considered a scrap lift. So I have my circles cut out. I did cut out 4 circles from the camera paper, and I'm going to try to get them on here the way that she has them on hers. And then I'm going to take these strips of paper, and I decided to use the branding strips with the holes, and I'm going to cut them down, and I'm just going to kind of give myself some time to tuck them underneath in various places just so I can see what it's going to look like. I believe she had 5 or 6 strips. I'm only going to put 3 because, again, it clutters up my layout too much, and I just didn't care for that look. So I'm not saying that the original layout was cluttered. I'm just saying that because I used more photos and I have a larger photo mat going on here, and maybe my circles are also larger than Caledonia Paper Crafts' original layout are, mine looked very cluttered when I put all of that stuff on it. So I chose not to do that. Now, what you just saw me do is something that I rarely do, but in this case I decided it was very beneficial, as I traced the outside edge of my photo mat, and now I'm going to glue down this strip of wood grain. The reason I traced the outline of my photo mat is because I'm going to do some stamping up on my layout, and I want to make sure that I'm not covering it up. I know a few of her words were covered, but I really wanted to keep my words covered because I didn't have a lot of just straight words on my stamp set like she did, and she was able to stamp some that were covered up and some that were fully out so that you could read all of them. You knew what the ones that were covered up were said because she had stamped them more than once, and I'm not actually going to be able to do that. I think I used one of the stamps twice. So I took Embracing This Home stamp and I stamped it in black right there on the bottom of where, actually above my wood grain strip. And now I'm just going to start alternating the different stamps that I have in black, and then I'm going to come in with the 3 colors that you see off to the right, and I'm going to stamp a few phrases and a house with those colors just to kind of mimic what she had done. She had the phrases, and then of course she had a few colored phrases and images as well. I am not going to stamp everywhere though. I'm just going to stamp, I don't think I stamp anywhere except here. I might get one happy heart down on the bottom. I can't remember for sure. Yep, there I go. I'm stamping one. Oh, I stamped a circle there, and I think I stamped something else nearby. But those are the stamps that I've used with the black ink, and I'm setting my VersaFine ink aside. And now I'm going to start working on getting the stamps with the color. I'm going to start with this house. She had a lot of house icons on her layout, and I will have as well. I'm going to use some chipboard houses from my photo pack, or from my phrase pack, but I don't think I used 3 of those. She had 3 stickers. I think she used the Avenue collection, or at least her stickers were from Jen Hadfield's The Avenue collection. But I don't have that many house icons, and I felt like the chipboard houses were too large to use as many, so I chose to go with one stamped item. And then over on the bottom right corner, I used the stamp that says "Feels Like Home." Now, I think I've already mentioned that we are a military family and we move a lot. In fact, we moved in July of 2022, and that was our 14th move. And most of those moves have taken place since 2015. We have moved quite a bit as my husband has increased in rank, because they put the people who are higher rank where they're needed most, and we get moved more often. And that's okay. We don't mind moving, kind of. It's hard work. I'll just leave it at that. But we enjoy our lifestyle. It is hard. It gets lonely sometimes, and having to start over all the time is kind of rough, especially when you have kids. And one of the things that we actually struggled with the most as a military family is when we moved from a place where homeschooling was a really big deal and that there was a lot of military families involved, to a location where homeschooling wasn't as big of a deal. And the homeschoolers that were in the group that we joined weren't as friendly as we were used to. And anyway, that's just an aside, one of the things that we encountered. Anyway, back to my layout. So I was going to tuck those 2 smaller circles like the original layout has. And again, because my photo mat is so large, it just looked cluttered. It didn't look right. So I'm going to leave the 2 circles out. They're just going to kind of sit there off to the side looking pretty, because I'm not even going to use them on this layout. And my dry run of this layout, I actually used the longer strips, but if you will see, I'm tearing these down even further as I tuck them, because they're harder to tuck once I put glue on the back of that photo mat. And so anyway, it feels great to use up some of those branding strips. I'm not always great about using those. I did decorate a Pringles can. I had my kids take one for the team. I don't eat Pringles because I have too many food allergies, and they seem to be included in every can of Pringles. But Ginger from Ginger's Corner had one on her desktop that she was pulling from, and so I took her idea with her blessing, and I decorated a Pringles can as well. So now I'm starting to pull things off from this phrase sheet. I have 2 complete sets of these phrases, and you can see there that there are duplicates on the sheets, and I've been desperately trying to use these up forever. In fact, I went through all of my Fernwood pattern paper and then bought more because I had so many embellishments left over. I know I could mix and match with other collections, even not even use them with Vicky Boutin, but I have so many left that I felt like if I got another paper pad that I could actually use up more of these, and I've been pretty successful. Now, you might have seen a shadow moving up there at the top left of my screen, or of your screen, and that was me trying to ward off Jasper the kitty cat because he wanted to walk across my layout and I didn't want him to, and so I was kind of guiding him to go around. The way my desk is set up, as I have a desk with a computer on it and my computer chair, and that is my main workspace. But when I record, I placed a folding table with a wood grain top and my lighting, and it's up against the desk, and he likes to jump up on the recording table and up onto the corner of the desk because it sits next to a window, and he likes to look out. He also likes to walk across my pages, as you've seen in previous videos. And so if I'm paying attention, I can ward him off and reroute him to go in front of the monitor, which is what he just did. Anyway, back to the layout. I am pretty pleased with a lot of the embellishments I'm putting on here. And see, I just tried to put another house up there on that top circle, and I didn't like it. And so I'm not going to use that. Now I'm going to pull out this sheet of puffy stickers, and I mentioned at the beginning that I wasn't planning on using any of the words, and I don't. I'm just going to pull off some of these little bits and pieces here to round out my little tiny circle embellishments that I'm putting in each little cluster. I'm also pulling out a couple of the leaf puffy bits, and I'm going to put those on the layout as well. So my layout, the basics of it looks a lot like the original, but I have put my own spin on things, which is fairly typical for me. My title is not glued down there just yet, but I will in just a second. So I took the time to glue everything down off camera, and I'm going to add a few sprinkles on it because she used a patterned paper for her background, which gave you a sense of texture and pattern, and I used white cardstock. I apologize for the lighting up there. When I record in the afternoon, I really struggle with the weirdness that the light comes through the window, and I'm going to have to figure out a way to fix that because even pulling down the blind doesn't do it. But I'm just going to splatter all over. All right, I got this layout completely finished. I did deviate from the original a little bit. I cut the two small circles that she had tucked underneath her photo mat, but when I did that, I felt it was a little bit too busy since I used 4 photos, and it's larger than the photo that she had. I also added splatters because she used a patterned paper gave it kind of a textured look, and I wanted to mimic that texture with some splatters. I did move my title up a little bit onto my photos where hers is actually on her background, and I did that because it was going to be too low down here. I also changed up a little bit of the embellishments. I put a little bit more here, put a little bit more there. I didn't do as many stamped words as she had because I had a different style of stamps, but it still is inspired by her stamping. I really want to stamp more on layouts, and that is kind of the reason I chose this layout, was because it had stamping on it and because it was a very pretty layout and I wanted to mimic it. So I want to thank you so much for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe to my channel. It means so much to me when you drop those comments below. So if you have any comments or questions about this layout, just drop them below. I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Make sure that you check out that playlist below because everybody who's playing along this week will be on the playlist. And also make sure that you check out the links to Caledonia Paper Crafts Instagram account, and you can leave her some love. She's got some beautiful, beautiful layouts there for you to look at and enjoy, and maybe you'll find one to scraplift as well. She's a sweet lady, so hopefully you guys will say hello to her over on Instagram and tell her that I sent you. I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye.